it is no longer possible again for the Fulanis to deceive the Southerners. We are more wiser than ever before. It's quite unfortunate that whenever they want to perpetrate evil, they want to commit evil, they begin to attach it with Allah, that Allah should destroy certain people. When they don't want to, they do that in isolation, isolating the people that protest their interests, the people they know they are the sponsors behind their actions and nefarious activities. Of most recent, it is before the public domain, the body language of an average Fulani man, precisely in the person of Buhari and his allies, our clique of the Fulani leagues of the northern people. You see, one of them came now being sponsored, who called himself engineer, whatever he called himself, Engineer Yasir. Look at what he said. These are manipulative system trying to sell certain ideas, notions to the gullible people out there. But we, the Southerners, we are now more wiser than they are. We have understood their mode of oppression, the way they deploy their mechanization in order to achieve their purpose. There had been a strong conspiracy to eliminate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa, and Sunday Igboho, who is predominantly from the southern part of the country, and neglecting or ignoring, not capturing the main people who are the problem, who are the parasites, who are those constituting nuisance, whose nefarious activities has cut across the entire region of this country. As an average TV man, as an average Kanuri man, as an average Ijo man, as an average Yoruba man, as an average Igbo man, Ibibio, Edo man, who has infiltrated, who has invaded their own territory, their own ancestral home, killing and manning, destroying, they will tell you the first person to mention is the Fulani militias. But this man, in his handle, ignored those people because he knew that these are their militias. This is their machineries they have put in place to achieve their exclusive dominance and suppression of other ethnic nationalities. He never mentioned even the leader of Bieti Allah. Now let's see what he has to say. I maintain again that whenever you see them talking like this or moving this way, they want to psychologically control the thinking of the North, the thinking of certain gullible Southerners, to begin to align with them, consciously, unconsciously, against their own people, to the detriment of their own people. You see how systematically he exonerated his own people, even the Boko Haram. Is it only Bello Tuji that is the one ravaging the entire 19 states of the North? There is no peace, let alone talking about relative peace in the entire northern part of the country, Nigeria. So why is it that he failed to pay attention? He isolated those people, he exempted them because of what evil intention, motive they have to project. These people are not the enemies. They are their machineries and instruments of oppression. So they are protected by law. Even when Buhari, even before he assumed office as the president of Nigeria, look at what he said against Jonathan. He said that attack against Boko Haram. He was very clear and emphatic. Against Boko Haram is against the northern agenda, the northern interest. Now, this northern interest is what his fellow Fulani man is projecting. He called himself Engineer Yasil or whatever he is. Now, look at what he said. He said, may Allah bring the end of terrorists terrorizing Nigeria, including himself, because he's not being sincere to himself that the continued ravaging of the North and assault against the Northerners and the defenseless indigenous ethnic nationalities within the North is being sponsored, enhanced by certain vested interests and powerful individuals within the corridor of power, which him himself is one of them. He knew them. He knew who they are. There have been several times, even when the UAE, Dubai, enlisted the sponsors of Boko Haram. What did they do about that? It's in the public domain. Now, including, but for the fact that Buhari's name was not there because Buhari was encouraging them, calling them their own people. So you can see the conspiracy, the craftiness they deploy whenever they want to unleash mayhem, whenever they want to instigate the North and every other gullible people from different regions to buy into their demonic and atrocious ventures. Let's see what this has to say. Let's get it. It said, may Allah bring the end of terrorists terrorizing Nigeria. Who are the terrorists terrorizing Nigeria? That is where we have to start. Who are the terrorists terrorizing Nigeria? As I've said, when you ask an average Yoruba man, the reason why the entire southwestern governors, someone emergency meeting, an urgent meeting, security meeting, because of the intel they got, that is very terrifying, that the influx of foreign militias, Boko Haram, terrorists, trying to invade the southwest. Now, who are they? Who are those militias, Boko Haram, that was nabbed? And most of them is on that net now. Let's see, the name he mentioned, he chose to mention. He has generated himself, he has generated his own cohorts, his own people, his own foot soldiers. They used to ravage the entire Nigerian across the regions of this country, and decided to pick those who they believe is the enemies of the Fulani exclusive dominance, those who will oppose them in achieving their purpose. Let's get on with this. Just follow me. He said, Bello Toji, Northwest. So is it the Northwest that is the only troubled region in the North? He just mentioned, so Bello Toji was responsible for the attacks in Zamfara, Taraba, Katsina, Kaduna, Niger, name them. The Middle Belt, the North Central was not mentioned. The Northeast, which was the most destructive part, insecure region in the country, where millions of people have been displaced by the activity, by the continued clash of the Fulani and militias who want to oust, of course, certain traditional rulers and occupy, enthrone their own persons there. He never mentioned them because those people are their angels, are their mercenaries, are their jihadists, and they are there, of course, to carry out that suppression and overriding invasion of other ethnic nationalities, whether they are in the north, in the south, in the west of Nigeria, this or in the east as well. It is quite very interesting. Let's get on with this. Just follow me. Just follow me as I said. Let me go back to that list. It's a Toji Bello, Northwest. What about Northeast? What about the tens of thousands of Boko Harams and their sponsors, and those, of course, showing their sympathy in their activities, those who call them their brothers, that they are protecting their interests, the likes of Buhari and his cliques and other northern political oligarchs who are backing these people directly or indirectly, even with their words, of course, have been exonerated. You know that this is purely the Fulani Caliphate agenda. They want to make the people believe that the southern people who were asking for their right, legitimate right to life, legitimate life to peace and to good life, to protect their own people against the invasion, the killings, the malicious killings and attacks, invasions of the region and communities that falls within the southern region. There is nothing else. Simon Ekpa, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Sunday Igboho. What brought Sunday Igboho to the question? Because of the incessant attack and killings of his own Yoruba kinsmen. Unabating, and Buhari refused to do anything. His body language was, of course, a consent, to the point that he has to admit before the public that you should give them your land as the only way to pacify them. Do you understand? That they are fully supporting these guys. Otherwise, how could they survive in terms of reinforcement, acquisition of sophisticated ammunitions, and the rest of them? So this guy, this Boko Haram person who called himself Engineer Yasil MNSE, you see, in his space handle has this to say. He mentioned Sunday Igboho from Southwest. How is Sunday Igboho responsible for the insecurity, for the act of terrorism in Nigeria? Do you understand their projections and their schemings, their craftiness? How have you ever seen Sunday Igboho mobilizing any Yoruba extraction, moving them down to the northeast, moving them down to Zamfara, moving them down to Kaduna to kill and sack the indigenous people, moving them down to Jos, moving them down to Benue, Agatu, and the rest of them to kill and man, usurping the property, the ancestral homes of the people? Have you ever heard that? That Sunday Igboho, even in the Southwest, killing the Fulanis. What he was asking, that enough is enough. The killings of my people will no longer be tolerated. That they have the right to life. They have the right to their own regions, boundaries, landmark, to possess and control their own regions. That the Fulani invasion is alarming, killing indigenous people and replacing and reoccupying their own ancestral homes. That was the offense of Sunday Igboho, that he's now saying, invoking Allah, may Allah end them miserably. You can imagine why he is spared and all that Fulani's machineries. Now he went further with Simon Ekpa, Southeast. How is, okay, Simon Ekpa could be a controversial personality because he decided after the rendition, extraordinary rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, supervised by and orchestrated by the Fulani terrorist government of Buhari, who said that an attack on Boko Haram is an attack on the Fulani interest, the Fulani agenda. Now he went and renditioned Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who was only asking for equity, for fairness, and for equal distribution of the common resources and the preservation of the life of his people and the cultural heritage. that their values must not be eroded, must not be replaced by foreign or alien cultures and values coming with the invasion of the different communities in the eastern region by the same Fulanis. That was just his offense, asking for self-determination. Now, what is the numerical strength of a country like that share borders with the north, like Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger? What is their population strength or index? But they are countries of their own. So why is the North afraid to be on their own? Mali is less in population and landmarks. When you compare even Niger State, it's more than the landmarks of Mali. But they are countries of their own because they have shared common ideologies and they want to oppress, control themselves. What is wrong about that? Now, you can imagine now, Simon Ekpa decided, no, we're not going to tolerate this nonsense. The invasions, you've seen over 200 people killed in Enugu by the same Fulanis, and this person, whatever he called him, calling for Allah to kill. And innocent people who are defending themselves and their people against the version of Fulani. You can understand that it is important now the Ahmed Bola Tinubu restructure this country, because some Yorubas have reconciled that themselves as Yoruba people or Odua nation is being, the Nigerian country is environment is hostile and poisonous to their continued existence. And if by any means Tinubu's tenure elapse, even before the tenure elapse, you have seen the mass exodus of or influx of terror sects, terror groups rounding up the entire southwestern region, which means nobody is safe. Even before Tinubu's tenure elapses, the threat is there already. They are living in that consciousness. So it is incumbent on the president, as several Yorubas and other people has called, let this country be divided, or let there be restructuring where regions we control, everybody will stay in their region. Let the southern people stay in their region and control themselves and harmonize themselves, understand themselves, because they have common shared values and ideology. Look at the sense of judgment of this person. You want people asking for the defense of their people, for the protection of their people, to be killed, to be taken out of the way so that you can have your way. You move your mercenaries and their killing squad to get down and overrun the entire community. You can imagine Sunday Igboho, who was shouting that the killings in Ibadan or your state and the rest of them is quite alarming, or Osun State, the Yoruba land. He's now considered as a terrorist. Terrorizing who? Terrorizing the Fulani agenda and their programs of exclusive suppression and dominance. That is quite unacceptable. And my prayer is that may Allah cause Nigeria to divide. May Allah split Nigeria, because Nigeria is no longer fashionable. It is no longer working for anybody. Let the North manage their own. The likes of course, the North is more divided than ever before. Even the northern people are not being spared. The indigenous people or ethnic nationalities within the North are also being threatened. They are also complaining, struggling for survival. They are being risked extinction by the same Fulani attacks, invasions. As a Plateau man told me that the invasion of the Fulanis, their intention was to overrun the entire Plateau and reoccupy it. And most communities has been overrun and renamed after Fulanis, and they are settling there. These people are not terrorists. They are not the one terrorizing the indigenous people. Now, has you ever heard that Nnamdi Kanu or Mazi Simon Ekpa mobilized the Igbos? Igbos are majorly traders across the nation. Have you heard them mobilizing the traders in different regions in the north and begin to give them guns and AK-47 to invade the communities, indigenous communities there, and begin to kill them so that they can grab the land? Instead of buying a piece of land where they can build their businesses, they will now be grabbing it by force, raping and manning, killing even children. So how do you now lump them with the Boko Haram, who are terrorists? He even exonerated Boko Haram, which means he is Boko Haram himself. He is the terrorist. He is one of the terrorists and sponsors of these terrorists. I hope the North will understand all this. My prayer, and that must be answered, that Allah will put the likes of him, the Boko Haram, the original terrorists terrorizing humanity within Nigeria, to a brutal end. You see all armed robbers. Now, today, kidnapping, armed robbery, and paying of ransom. You see, people will pay ransom before they are allowed the free movement. The liberty or the freedom of movement has been restricted, if not usurped in the north. He is not concerned about that. He's not concerned by the level of IDPs, internally displaced persons. And most of them have spent more than 10 years. They have not returned to their ancestral homes. In fact, they no longer have any ancestral home to come back because it has been reoccupied by the Fulanis. So it's quite unfortunate that these guys are not serious. They think they could continue to manipulate the psyche or the intelligence of the masses. People are more wiser and have studied their modus operandi over the decades, and there is nothing new they could, of course, convince the people. You see, all armed robbers and criminals, you see, may their end be humiliating for the many blood they have shed and unrest they have caused. You see, the people causing unrest in the southwest, the entire southern people are peace-loving people. They are accommodative. You've not seen that religious fundamentalist extremism within the entire southern people. Even the southwest, the Yorubas, you see a Yoruba woman is a Christian, married to a Yoruba Muslim man. They are cohabiting, living together. But you can never see that being tolerated among the Fulanis, the North. Those extremists, they can't conduct such. They can't condone such. In the South, they express the freedom of religion, of expression, or religious affiliations. But that can't happen. In the southern region, they are the most peaceful people, but who is bringing terrorism to them? The same Fulanis and other terrorist cells, groups, moving down to, if not, the southern people doesn't have any problem. They can coexist with themselves and understand themselves, intermarry, and get on with their life. But what has destabilized the security of even in the southeast or the eastern region or the Biafran territory today, to the point that everybody now is seeing the handwriting on the wall that the continued existence of Nigeria poses a threat to the existence of the ethnic nationalities within the southern region. Even the Middle Belt are crying out because they have suffered so much in the hands of these people, ravaging, invading their lands, killing and manning their own people. suppressing them. They claim to be part of the North, but in practice, they are not. They are being sidelined and suppressed. The same strategy of exclusive dominance is what they deploy against them, to reduce them to the point that nobody can rise to challenge, of course, their nefarious actions and activities, even with the expansion of their machineries and dynasty, or the Fulani empire or interests. It's quite unfortunate that this is happening. So my prayer is that Allah will punish the sponsors, those abetting sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. And Nigeria should also be vulcanized. Let every region control their peace, manage their own wahala, eat their own food, drink their own water, and stay on their own region for peace to reign. Because all these escalations, all this destruction can't continue, because it's not in the interest of humanity. Let's get to know your own take regarding this development. It is an issue of concern, and everybody must show some level of concern. It's very important. No other better time than now.